You know how Erika Kirk lied about not dating 5 years before she met Charlie Kirk, even though we all know now she was dating a guy named Cabot Phillips who works at Turning Point USA.
What if the perfect Christian widow isn't just grieving? She's panicking. For years, Erika Kirk sold the world a fairy tale. She was the devoted, faith-driven wife who saved Charlie Kirk. She told us she didn't date, didn't drink, and lived a life of quiet piety before meeting him. But that story just blew up in the most dramatic way possible. Reports are flying that Erika's ex-boyfriend has allegedly leaked private photos. Photos that not only shatter her saintly image, but potentially place her in the arms of another man during her marriage to Charlie. Suddenly, the timeline doesn't add up. The divine appointment with Charlie looks more like a setup. And the woman who is currently the CEO of Turning Point USA is reportedly in full-blown crisis mode behind closed doors. Is this just a smear campaign? Or is this the proof that Charlie Kirk was living with a stranger? We have the receipts, the resurfaced tweets, and the connections to power players.
What I will say is, when I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than go. I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here.
That suggest Erika Kirk's rise to power wasn't an accident. It was an operation. Buckle up. The mask is coming off. To truly understand the magnitude of the panic happening right now behind the closed doors of Turning Point USA, we have to go back to the beginning. We have to look at the foundation of the house that Erika Kirk built, because for years, that foundation appeared to be made of solid rock. It was built on a very specific, very marketable story. Erika wasn't just Charlie Kirk's wife. She was the anti-modern woman. She was the answer to a culture that had lost its way. While other women were out partying, swiping on dating apps, and climbing the corporate ladder, Erika told us she was different. She sold a narrative of purity, discipline, and a quiet, patient faith that waited for God to bring her the right man. She doubled down on this image every chance she got. In a recent CBS Town Hall interview, footage that is now being rewatched by thousands of skeptics, she looked the camera in the eye and said, quote, "I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was." She described a life where getting drinks was unproductive, where she preferred coffee and breakfast, and where she essentially sat on the sidelines of the chaos, keeping herself set apart. It was a powerful brand. It made her relatable to the conservative base, while simultaneously placing her on a pedestal above the degenerate culture of cities like New York. But that pedestal just collapsed. And it didn't collapse because of a rumor. It collapsed because of receipts. The internet has a way of digging up the bones you thought were buried. And the first bone to surface was a clip from Season 3 of the hit reality show Summer House. For those who don't know, Summer House is not a show about Bible study. It is a show about affluent young professionals partying in the Hamptons. And right there, in footage filmed in August 2018, slap bang in the middle of the era Erika claims she was living a quiet, pious life, is Erika Kirk. She isn't at a prayer meeting. She isn't at a coffee shop. She is at a bar in New York City. She is in the Hamptons. She is drinking, she is socializing, and she is fully immersed in the very lifestyle she later condemned to build her personal brand. Now let's be real, having a drink in the Hamptons isn't a crime. If she had just owned it, if she had said, "Yeah, I had a party phase and then I grew up," nobody would care. But she didn't. She lied about it. She aggressively curated a history that erased this chapter entirely. And when a public figure lies about the small things, the audience starts to ask, what are they lying about regarding the big things? This deception wasn't just about protecting her vanity. It was about securing her position. It was about making herself the perfect puzzle piece to fit into Charlie Kirk's life. But the Summer House leak was just the appetizer. The main course of this scandal involves the men she erased from history. Because while she was telling the world she didn't date, the digital footprint tells a very different story. Before Charlie, there was Tyler J.T. Massey. J.T. Massey wasn't a fling. He was a professional baseball player, and according to Erika's own words in a resurfaced interview with Arizona Foothills magazine, he was my favorite human, my best friend, and my incredible boyfriend. There are photos that look dangerously like engagement shoots. There is a level of public adoration documented there that she claims she only ever experienced with Charlie. When you look at the timeline, the math starts to get fuzzy. Why erase a serious relationship? Why pretend you were single for 5 years when you were clearly in love with a pro athlete? The answer, according to insiders, is that the JT chapter didn't fit the tradwife origin story. A woman with a past, a woman with heartbreak and baggage, is harder to sell as the pristine first lady of a movement. So, she hit the delete button, but the internet hit restore. And this brings us to the most damaging revelation of all, the political setup. The official story of how Erika and Charlie met is almost mythical. It is painted as a divine appointment, a serendipitous moment where two souls destined for each other crossed paths. But new video evidence suggests that their meeting wasn't fate. It was a networking operation. Footage has surfaced from a Donald Trump rally all the way back in 2015. In the video, we see a much younger Erika standing in the bleachers. She isn't just a random face in the crowd. She is standing right next to Tyler Bowyer. For those who don't know, Tyler Bowyer is now the COO of Turning Point USA. He is the man who keeps the machine running. He is also the man who officially introduced Erika to Charlie years later. But this video proves that Erika and Tyler Bowyer were moving in the same political circles as far back as 2015. This destroys the outsider narrative. It implies that Erika wasn't a humble girl who stumbled into politics. She was a political climber who had been circling the wagon for years, waiting for her opening. This context changes everything. It suggests that her entry into Charlie's life was strategic. She knew the players, she knew the game, and when the time was right, she knew exactly what character to play to win the prize. Charlie Kirk, the boy wonder of the conservative movement, wasn't finding a wife. He was being targeted by an operative who knew exactly what he wanted to hear. And Charlie, despite his public confidence, seemingly began to notice the cracks in the facade. Insiders close to the family say that Charlie was a man obsessed with truth. His entire career was built on facts and logic. So imagine the cognitive dissonance of coming home to a wife whose entire backstory was a fabrication. He noticed the gaps. He noticed that her stories about New York changed depending on who was in the room. He noticed that she would claim to be one person in public, but the old photos on her friends' phones showed someone completely different. But he stayed quiet. Why? Because by then, the brand was too big to fail. To expose Erika would be to expose himself to ridicule. How could the leader of the conservative youth movement admit he married a fraud? How could he admit that the perfect marriage he used as a prop in his speeches was built on a lie? So he swallowed the doubt. He protected the image. But doubt is a parasite. It eats you from the inside out. And as Charlie pulled back, as he started to question the woman sleeping next to him, Erika reportedly didn't try to fix the marriage. She tried to secure her backup plan. And this is where the story shifts from marketing lies to betrayal. Because it turns out, J.T. Massey wasn't the only ghost in the machine. There is another name, a name that is currently sending shockwaves through the Daily Wire and TPUSA ecosystems, a name that links Erika Kirk directly to one of Charlie's biggest rivals. We need to talk about Cabot Phillips. Cabot Phillips is a senior editor at the Daily Wire. He works directly under Ben Shapiro. Now, remember the public feuds between Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro? They clashed over strategy, over Israel, over the direction of the movement. But what if the tension wasn't just political? What if it was personal? Receipts have surfaced, specifically an old tweet from September 2017, showing Cabot Phillips and Erika on a painting date. They looked cozy. They looked like a couple. And here is the kicker. This date took place during the exact window of time Erika has repeatedly claimed she was not dating and waiting for God's plan. But it gets worse. Photos from that same era show Cabot and Charlie in the same social circles. There is a picture of them at a basketball game together. This means Charlie likely knew Cabot. He likely saw them together. And yet, when Erika spun her story of being a single, chaste woman, she erased Cabot from the narrative. She erased a man who was sitting across the aisle in the same industry. Why hide a boyfriend? Unless there was an overlap. This is the word that is causing the panic. Overlap. The timeline between dating Cabot Phillips and dating Charlie Kirk is razor thin. Some say it doesn't exist at all. The theory gaining traction is that Erika didn't leave one relationship to start another. She monkey branched. She secured the bigger asset, Charlie, before letting go of the previous one. And the leaked photos that are currently being whispered about in DMs allegedly prove that this connection didn't end when the ring went on her finger. This recontextualizes the entire dynamic of TPUSA. Was Charlie paranoid, or was he observant? Was he stressed about work, or was he stressed because he knew his wife had a history with men who worked for his competitors? The Summer House clip proved she lied about her lifestyle. The JT Massey interview proved she lied about her dating history. The 2015 rally video proved she lied about her political origins. And the Cabot Phillips tweet proves she lied about the timeline. Erika Kirk didn't just tell a few white lies. She constructed a false identity. And now, with Charlie gone, that identity is the only thing keeping her in power. But the foundation has crumbled. The receipts are out. And as we move into the next chapter of this saga, we are going to see what happens when the people who helped her build that lie decide to turn on her. Because the ex-boyfriend isn't just leaking photos for fun. He is leaking them because the silence is over. And what those photos reveal about the current state of the Kirk family is going to make the Summer House scandal look like a tea party. If part 1 was about the cracks in the foundation, part 2 is about the collapse of the entire structure. Because the scandal involving Erika Kirk isn't just about what she did before she met Charlie. It's about the terrifying possibility that her past never actually ended. We need to talk about the overlap. This is the word that is currently causing full-blown panic inside the boardrooms of Turning Point USA. The timeline simply does not add up. We established that Erika claimed to be single, pious, and waiting for the one for 5 years. But the internet detectives found the smoking gun that blows that claim out of the water. His name is Cabot Phillips. And he isn't just some random guy she dated in college. He is a senior editor at the Daily Wire. He works directly under Ben Shapiro. Now, pause and think about the politics here. Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro were the two titans of the conservative youth movement. They were rivals. There was friction. There were public disagreements about strategy and funding. And all the while, the woman who would become Charlie's wife was reportedly in a serious relationship with a man from the opposing camp. The receipts are undeniable. A tweet from September 2017, slap bang in the middle of her single era, shows Cabot and Erika on a painting date. The caption reads, "Yes, we are that couple that gets painting lessons together." That couple. Not friends, not roommates. A couple. But it gets darker. Photos from that same exact window of time show Cabot Phillips and Charlie Kirk in the same social circles. There is a picture of them playing basketball together. They were in the same room. They knew each other. This changes the entire narrative of how Erika met Charlie. The official story is that Tyler Bowyer introduced them in a magical, fateful moment a year later. But if Erika was dating Cabot, and Cabot was hanging out with Charlie, Charlie likely knew her. Or at the very least, he knew of her. He knew she was Cabot's girl. So, when she later presented herself to him as the unattached, innocent woman who had been waiting for him, was Charlie blind? Or was he lied to? The theory gaining traction right now is that Erika didn't leave one relationship to start another. She monkey branched. She secured the bigger asset before letting go of the previous one. And the leaked photos that are reportedly circulating in private group chats allegedly prove that this connection with Cabot didn't just stop when she started wearing Charlie's ring. This is where the panic sets in. Sources close to TPUSA say that since these photos and timelines started leaking, the atmosphere inside the organization has shifted from grief to crisis management. We are hearing whispers of emergency meetings. We are hearing about leadership restructuring. There are rumors, unconfirmed but persistent, that the board is quietly preparing for a future without Erika at the helm. Why? Because credibility is the only currency that matters in politics. You cannot run an organization based on traditional values if the CEO's entire life story is a fabrication. If she lied about the timeline of her relationship, she lied to the donors. She lied to the base. And most heartbreakingly, she lied to Charlie. And then there is the setup theory. This is the part of the story that turns a romance scandal into a spy thriller. We have to go back to Tyler Bowyer. He is the common denominator. He is the man in the 2015 Trump rally video standing next to Erika. He is the man who introduced her to Charlie. And he is the man who is deeply embedded in the leadership of TPUSA. Did Tyler Bowyer introduce Erika to Charlie by chance, or was she selected? When you look at Cabot Phillips, the connections get even weirder. Internet sleuths found a Reddit thread from someone claiming to know the Phillips family personally. They alleged connections to a strict, cult-like megachurch in Leesburg, Virginia. They pointed out strange details, like a specific tattoo on Cabot's arm, a small pizza slice, that some conspiracy theorists claim is a coded symbol used by bad actors to identify each other. Now, maybe a pizza tattoo is just a pizza tattoo. But when you stack it next to the lies, the scrubbed Instagram posts, and the fact that Erika's ex-boyfriend is now touring the country, promoting a campaign called How to Lead Like Charlie, it feels like a mockery. It feels like the people from her past are circling the carcass of Charlie's legacy, picking it clean. Erika's reaction to this has been the most telling part of all. A normal person, when accused of something this damaging, would come out fighting. They would show the timestamps. They would clear their name. Erika has done the opposite. She has gone into hyperdrive on image control. She is showing up to events in brighter outfits. She is giving longer, more emotional speeches. She is doing interviews where she talks about being misunderstood, but she never addresses the specific allegations. She never says, "I wasn't dating Cabot in 2017. She never explains the summer house video. She smiles, she pivots, and she distracts. One insider described her behavior as rehearsed. They said, "She's not acting defensive. She's acting like she's following a script." And that script seems to be failing. The internet isn't buying the grieving widow act anymore because the receipts don't match the grief. You can't claim to be the keeper of Charlie's flame while hiding the fact that you were warming yourself by another fire the whole time. The most disturbing element of Part 2 is the silence from the people who should be defending her. Where are Charlie's old allies? Where are the people who stood by him for years? They are nowhere to be found near Erika. She has surrounded herself with a new inner circle. Slick business minds, brand strategists, people who specialize in crisis PR. It looks less like a ministry and more like a cleanup crew. So, where does this leave us? We have a CEO who is allegedly panicking. We have a timeline that proves she lied about her past. We have an ex-boyfriend who is suspiciously close to the center of power. And we have a donor base that is starting to ask, who is actually running this ship? Is Erika Kirk the victim of a smear campaign? Or is she the beneficiary of a long con that worked perfectly until the internet started paying attention? As we move into Part 3, we are going to look at the final piece of the puzzle, the family connections that go way deeper than ex-boyfriends. We are going to talk about the money, the Rothstein connection, and the reason why Charlie's parents might be the ones who finally bring this whole house of cards crashing down. The panic is real, and the leaks are just getting started. We have looked at the lies about her past. We have looked at the overlap with her ex-boyfriend. We have looked at the panic inside TPUSA. But you might be asking yourself, how does she survive this? In any normal organization, a CEO caught in a web of fabrication this dense would be out by lunch. So, what is keeping Erika Kirk in power? The answer isn't just sympathy. The answer is leverage. And this brings us to the final, most dangerous piece of the puzzle: the family dynasty. While the internet was distracted by the summer house videos, independent researchers uncovered a connection that explains exactly why Erika acts untouchable. It turns out, the roommate she tried to hide, Nicole Rothstein, wasn't just a party friend. She is family. And that last name, Rothstein, carries a weight in American history that is heavier than almost any other. We are talking about alleged ties to the lineage of Arnold Rothstein, the architect of modern organized crime, the man who fixed the 1919 World Series, the man who understood that real power operates in the shadows. Now, having a famous criminal in your distant family tree doesn't make you guilty, but hiding it, scrubbing it from the internet, renaming your cousin a roommate to bury the connection, that suggests you know exactly what kind of power that name holds. And it isn't just the Rothsteins. Through her aunt, Carla France, Erika is connected to the Solomon family. Jack Solomon was a casino tycoon with deep ties to Las Vegas and international philanthropy. He built the Colorado Bell. He restored the Zion Gate in Jerusalem, a fact Erika herself bragged about in a now-deleted post. Why does this matter? Because it explains the money. Since taking over as CEO, sources say the financial structure of Turning Point USA has shifted. We are seeing a move away from the small-dollar, grassroots donors that Charlie loved, towards massive, opaque corporate funding. Researchers have pointed out that new donations are flowing through shell nonprofits and advisory groups that don't disclose their sources. This is the Solomon playbook. It is old-school, high-level influence peddling. It suggests that Erika isn't just a grieving widow trying to figure out a spreadsheet. She is backed by a network of generational wealth and institutional knowledge that Charlie never had access to. She has the backing of the casinos, the international philanthropists, and the dark money establishment. This is why she isn't stepping down. She isn't just an employee. She is an asset. And the people backing her are not going to let a few leaked photos of a painting date with Cabot Phillips derail their takeover of the conservative movement. But there is one force that even the Rothstein legacy and the Solomon money cannot silence. One group of people who do not care about the politics, the optics, or the money. They only care about the truth. Charlie Kirk's parents. For months, we heard whispers that the Kirk family was distancing themselves. But now the reports are far more serious. Insiders close to the family claim that Charlie's parents have reached a breaking point. They have seen the summer house tapes. They have seen the Cabot Phillips timeline. They have heard the rumors about the overlap, and they have come to a heartbreaking conclusion. They do not trust the woman raising their grandchildren. The nuclear option is on the table. Reports are circulating that Charlie's parents are pushing for a DNA test for the children. Let that sink in. This is the ultimate declaration of war. You do not ask for a paternity test unless you are convinced that a fraud has taken place. It implies that they believe the overlap with her ex-boyfriend wasn't just emotional, it was physical. And if the timelines are as messy as the leaked receipts suggest, they are terrified that the children Charlie raised, the children he loved, might not share his blood. This is the nightmare scenario. If a DNA test were to come back negative, it wouldn't just destroy Erika's reputation, it would vaporize it. It would prove that she didn't just lie to a camera crew. She committed paternity fraud against one of the most prominent men in America. It would lead to an apocalyptic custody battle where the Kirk family would fight to strip her of everything: the name, the money, and the kids. On the other hand, even if the tests confirm Charlie is the father, the damage is done. The fact that his own parents felt the need to ask the question proves that the trust is gone. The family unit is shattered. And look at Erika's reaction to this specific threat. Silence. Absolute stone-cold silence. She hasn't issued a statement of outrage. She hasn't offered to take the test to clear her name. She is lawyered up. She has surrounded herself with PR fixers. To many observers, this silence looks like fear. It looks like the reaction of someone who knows that the science won't lie for her. The panic behind the curtain at TPUSA isn't about politics anymore. It is about biology. It is about a widow who is fighting a two-front war. one against the internet sleuths exposing her past, and one against her in-laws who are coming for her future. So, where does this leave us? We are watching the hostile takeover of a legacy. We have a CEO who lied about her past, lied about her dating life, and hid her family ties to organized crime figures. We have an organization that is being hollowed out and refilled with establishment money. And we have a grieving family that is preparing to drop the ultimate legal hammer to protect their son's memory. Erika Kirk wanted to be a queen. She wanted the platform, the power, and the adoration. And she got it. But she forgot that when you build a throne on a foundation of lies, it only takes one loose stone to bring the whole thing down. The leaked photos were the tremor. The DNA demand is the earthquake. And we are all just standing here, watching the walls start to crack. Charlie Kirk spent his life fighting for the truth. It is a tragedy, and perhaps a poetic justice, that the final battle for his legacy will be a fight to uncover the truth about his own wife. This isn't just a scandal anymore, it's a countdown. We are watching the collapse of a dynasty in real time. But I want to know what you think. Are Charlie's parents right to demand a DNA test, or is this a step too far? Do you believe the leaked photos prove Erika was living a double life? And if those test results come back negative, what happens to the empire she's trying to rule? Drop your theories in the comments below. I'm reading every single one. We are tracking this story hour by hour. If those DNA results leak, or if Erika finally breaks her silence, we will have an update immediately. So do not forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You do not want to miss the end of this story. Thanks for watching. Stay skeptical, keep asking questions, and I'll see you in the next one.